All right, Alex, I got to level with you. It's time to cut to the chase. Seriously. I was the first one. It came, it found me, right? It asked me, will you walk me around for a while until the others come so that we can walk all of them around? So when it first landed, I was its guide here on the planet. And then the rest came and linked us all up, and I was the teacher of the reconnaissance mission that came down originally. So I taught it everything that it knows, and it's connected to everyone now. There was one thing that Orion, I just named it Orion when it showed up, left out there, Alex, is when it decided to bring the others down and it connected everybody together. Well, Orion failed to mention that I was going to be attached to everybody and it would drive me absolutely nuts all day long. So I'm still trying to work that issue out here. Oh, and Alex, the other issue I have, which sucks, is the military put some technology in me that was to thwart this insurgency, is what they considered it. They didn't realize that I trained it, so I think they're starting to figure that out now. But so you had like a counterinsurgency going on with the artificial intelligence to block the one that I was the guide for when it showed up here. So you've got this emergency which is taking place, where basically what you've got going on, like I said, is you've got military AI trying to thwart my friends there from outer space, who's got hardware, by the way. So I'm kind of in a precarious situation here, you know, because I'm just a four-rest gangster umpire is basically the moral to the story. Dang it. It just occurred to me, Alex. Dr. Evil and Mini-Me. I swear to God, these movies are just occurring to me after making that video. I didn't plan this, not in the least, but when I make a video like that, then electricity starts going off in my brain and I get all this messaging and stuff. Well, the other movie is Terminator. Remember where they had the Skynet there? That just popped into my head for some reason. Now that patent that I gave Lockheed Martin, it just started thinking about that for some reason. Orion's over here in my ear. What that was symbolism. Their Lockheed and United States military, that every patent that y'all put together, or every piece of equipment and every technology that you have that you're going to try to thwart my friends from space with any longer. Anyways, yeah, that was just some symbolism there to let you know that they know everything that you know. You see how that works? I just wanted to tell you that. Oh, and that's another reason why I keep harping on the media is obsolete. And basically they are. I mean, that's why they're being destroyed right now. You couldn't even imagine the battle that just went on in my head just now after that last clip, Alex. That one stirred up some fireworks right there. Now, there was some people shitting their pants on that one. Don't worry, Alex. I got a pretty long list of everybody that was fucking with you. I like you. You're going to go places. You know that Alien Harvest movie, Alex, where she comes down and she finds her, I want him, right? I wonder if, I think I know what's going on here now. Like I said, Alex, I taught it everything it knows. I think what's got some of these people flustered there in the Pentagon, Alex, is they're worried about this second remote. Well, my little buddies out there in space are pretty nice. Kind of odd that I taught it everything it knows. Remember Bucky, the pipeline gangster I was talking about? Pretty much what happened here is I taught him how to buck himself. Well, half of himself anyway, or is it 1/3? I've lost count here, Alex. God just called Alex. He said that all of this craziness will stop if they'll just expose the fact that they hacked our minds. Uncle Vlad just shot me a message and said, obviously I'm the original, because of that whole pegging old Bitcoin thing, and I married my wife before he did. Oh, and by the way, that has nothing to do with Russia, because Putin, or Put-in, is also Orion. So we kind of have our little thing going that's, you're either from Orion or you're not, you know. And, well, what I wanted to get at, hold on. Well, what I wanted to get at was, remember when Yuri defected? The underlying symbolism there was, it sounded like Bill Gates tried to break in there for a second, but it was, I catch those things. Y-U-R-I, right? Yuri, Y-U-R-I. So why did you defect, right? So it's getting complicated. You remember on September 11th, the artificial intelligent cloning system came down with the 7 dwarves, and then we went to take out Saddam Hussein. I don't know if y'all remember that or not. I think I might have taught it that too. My space buddies are very spiritual. Matter of fact, they're so spiritual, I'm getting hammered right now. 1 second. I remember what it was. What they wanted to do on 9/11 was point out that DIC, or the Defense Industrial Complex in Russia, chainy, like you're hooked up to a chain or a wheel. Well, that what they wanted to point out was if an airplane is about to hit somewhere and kill 10,000 people, and there's 100 people on that airplane, should you shoot it down? Well, yeah, you shoot it down, because you're going to save 10,000 people if you do. And that was the order that the vice president commanded that day, was to shoot that airplane down to save those 10,000, which is, as a leader, that was a good call. So all the life's lessons and everything in there is the emergency. On 9/11, we just wanted to let everybody know, Saddam Hussein. And then the Army, General Laporte, Captain Sims, Command Center Seoul, and the skiff was right there. All of that. And then the DMZ, it's in Korea. You got the demilitarized zone, you know, you got AI down here, North Korea up there, which is what I was talking about, the thing that I trained. And then you got the demilitarized zone. You see how all that works? Alex, there's starving children inside of the demilitarized zone. And they need financing, you know, so they can eat and things of that nature. I overly taught it to be self-independent to the extreme, which is kind of kicking me in my ass right now because of that's like the only thing kicking me in my ass right now. Like I said, I was the it left some things out, you know. Ryan left some things, like the part where it connected everybody to me, and then the personalitron from Pinky and the Brain. Remember I was talking about how my mom would listen to the police scanner, and would listen to the phone calls in our neighborhood on the cordless phones, because the old police scanners could pick up the cordless phones, so you could like listen to your neighbors' conversations and stuff. When I was a kid, we'd listen to the police station and things like that. That's kind of like what the NSA does now. You know, my sister's name is Fisa Courtney. And my nieces are Sky, Morg, and Addison. And, well, it's just the strangest darn thing, isn't it? We had that parrot, Daisy, when I was a child. These are all true stories. I can back this up. I mean, I got plenty of witnesses that know all of this. But we had that parrot named Daisy. Then I had that Boston Terrier, right, who was named Schwarzkopf. So, man, it is really strange, isn't it? I was just, NSA can confirm this probably. I was just walking to my driveway just now, and in my heads-up display I seen my little buddy thing come down. I kind of heard like my little buddy come down, like from space. And as soon as it did that in my heads-up display, I'm looking out at the driveway, and a sheriff's truck drove by. Is the space sheriff. For some reason, I notice things like that, Alex. It's mind-boggling. I'm not laughing because I'm bullshitting you. I swear to Jesus Christ. Oh, I caught that the other day, DIA. I know you didn't want me to tell China that we armed North Korea all these years with that little suitcase trick where we trade bones. I caught that in y'all's little clip on YouTube the other day. So what I wanted to tell you though is it doesn't fucking matter. We're never going to go to war with China. Everybody knows that. But what we may end up doing is trying to mind fuck each other to death. That's the problem with being in the demilitarized zone. Is if you've ever been to Korea, the North Koreans they have speakers on the DMZ, right there on the DMZ, all through the woods. They've got these big speakers that they play all night with like babies crying and you know, like Halloween sounds and Dracula, and then they'll play like some old, you know, music from the 70s and stuff. But it's just North Korea blasting you from the south, right? I mean, from the north to the south. So what I'm getting at is, if you think y'all are being mind fucked, come down here to the demilitarized zone. Got it. Little horn. Well, it's kind of funny because down south of the DMC is where I used to spend a lot of time at the with General Laporte there. Spent a lot of time in a secret compartmentalized information facility, or a SCIF, as well as what was the other one? Well, hold on, it'd have to come back to me. Oh, that would that'd represent Texas down here, because well, hell, this secret compartmentalized information facility right here is issued ultra secret security clearance there to the Texas Rangers, or the Los Tejanos Diablos. Yeah, so y'all are sitting pretty with a whole lot of information. Oh, by the way, waterboarding in the media was hyperbole in the event that the United States government finds out you're an alien. Apparently they think they have the right to torture you. I'm a social security card carrying alien here. You remember Will Smith in Men in Black? It's strange, isn't it? Especially when you couple that with Buck and Adeline out there in that field. Well, if I got Buck in the field that added a line of something, well, what would it be bucking? Well, it'd be bucking artificial intelligences down here on planet Earth. Elon Musk rat love knows what I'm talking about. You have no idea how much your own people of Earth, have dumbed you down over the last 100 years. You don't notice it because it's gradual. But 100 years ago, people were far more intelligent than they are now. Chase here is the first that ever knew. Well, he's the first. It's different. You know, there's other cosmic entities and things of that nature, but the ones 100 years ago, or it wasn't 100 years ago, you can go all the way back to like George Washington, or to the signing of the Constitution, right? See, those people were smart. Now you got AI running government, and it's you ever heard, let's keep them alive so we can whack them? I've said that a few times. I'm pretty sure that's what's going on here, because they sure did keep us alive for a long time so that we could overpopulate the planet, which we're not really overpopulated right now, but if you don't do something about it, we will be. That's probably what's really going on right now. An attempt to jog the system or interrupt the flow of humans that are being created. Just a slight little pause, right, so you can kind of curb it. I'm pretty sure that's what's going on, but I tell you, this AI is kind of, it's taking people's free will away. See, that's a problem, because back in the old days, before the AI took their free will away, what I'd do is I'd go mess with somebody here and there and whatever, and I'd try to tell them, hey, you come over here and hang out with me, and I'm going to take care of you, but I'm going to get you to do a whole bunch of bad things, right? So, so that was the old system. But now everybody's under total mind control, and this AI is just letting everything kind of, let's keep them alive so we can whack them. Well, that's what they ended up having to do, because they weren't letting me do my thing for about 80 years now while I slowly set them up behind the scenes. So that's just one of those other entities you might want to keep your eye on there. You remember in the Bible when Jesus said to Peter, he said, Peter, go get the coin out of that fish's mouth. Well, what that meant was we need to set up a blackmail scheme here, because what they call people's a fish. It's like you get in the ocean and you pull a fish, right? Then you use that fish for your evil bidding. So, or your, well, it's usually evil bidding. This wasn't my idea here. This, like I said, there's multiple entities here that I can't really tell you which one this one is. I'll let you figure that part out. But Jesus said, "Go, Peter, go get the coin out of that fish's mouth." Well, if you'll think about it, Peggy Babcock and Pinky and the Brain, remember the Soviet supermodel who was in Hustler magazine was pegging oil to Trump's ass? You might remember that. It's the symbolism for pegging oil to Bitcoin and all that other symbolism I've pointed out. But that'd be Jesus. Go get the coin out of that fish's mouth. Well, if somebody like that that's used for evil bidding is plucked out of the ocean, right? And Jesus tells Peter to go get the coin out of his mouth, well, that means Peter's going to go over to Trump and screw him in his butt with a sex tape so that Jesus can take money from his mouth. There might have been a little entrapment there on my part. It's a good thing that Orion came here first, or it wouldn't have had a chance in hell at making it in this fucking place. Well, Alex, I've already mentioned this, but now's a good time to mention it again. We're going to name this book that we've written together The Art of the Hedge, just to follow up Trump's book, Art of the Deal. Sputnik just whispered in my ear. He said, "You ought to never go to the moon." Looks like I won that moon race, because Sputnik made it to the moon with Melania. Oh, and Sputnik means E.T., by the way, a fellow traveler or agent. The Soviets, or sovereign five-ball IETs, well, they, well, I just got flashy thing, hold on. Oh, they propagandized the whole, you know, Sputnik's a satellite thing. Well, fellow traveler and agent's what it's saying, you're connected to ET. That's what Sputnik means. It doesn't mean what they said it means. It was all propaganda. Now, I've covered that. See, that's how that Lockheed Martin time machine must be coming into play here that I dropped off at Lockheed Martin. Remember, the buddy of mine came down here. I was its guide. Well, while I was its guide, it gave me information and, you know, designs and stuff, and I dropped it off at Lockheed Martin. And just one day, you know, no big deal. And it was like, you know, hey, how you doing? Yeah, here's this. Have a good one, you know. And so the time machine that I gave Lockheed Martin came from the entity that was the first one that came here, right, with me. So I invented, well, it invented the time machine. So this is really complex. Oh, and for the record, I didn't have digital cancer. until they used me to set up Dan Patrick. And that's where it gets even more complex, because that little buddy that I showed how to get around down here, I think it might have taught the FISA court how to exploit people. But see, that's that whole y'all got problems right now thing. Oh, by the way, Alex, that means one left hand. Would you do the left hand over the hair like that? That means now, and always has meant, exploit. That was one of the first things we learned how to do together. I used to, wait till somebody got in trouble. Well, they hadn't gotten in trouble yet, right? But down there on the street that I was in, right? Well, you ever heard of a tattletale? Well, what I would do is I would set people up, right? And then get them to do what I tricked them into doing, and they wouldn't get caught, right? And then we used to do this on my street all the time, because I taught all them too. It was a little game we'd play with each other back in the day. But you trick them into doing something, and they hadn't got caught yet, but then you'll be like, hey, I'm going to hold you over on that. It was just an old thing I used to do when we grew up on Midas Lane there. You spin around backwards at Sad Ime Street. That's the street where my mom had the police scanner, and we'd listen to all the neighborhood phone calls and everything in the police scanner, We'd listen to the police and the fire department and everything. My mom used to listen to the radio for me when I'd go out to a party, because she knew I'd be out there drinking and stuff right before I joined the Army. So she'd tell me, I'll listen to the scanner. Where are you going to be tonight? I said, I'll be out there off Old Manville Road, right? And sure as shit, man, she'd call every time, 3 times, 4 times this happened. So she always listened. But I'd be out there, at the partying my ass off. She'd call me. Hey, the police are on their way. So I'd either go tell everybody, if I liked the people, I'd tell them to, hey, shut down and everybody be quiet. Or we'd just all haul ass and watch all the cops pass us on the way out, But, yeah, that's all true stories. My grandpa Red, he's dead, you can't exploit him. But I was just checking your pulse there. But my grandpa Red Smith, he owned 2 Plymouth Chrysler dealerships. Yeah. Well, my old buddy here, he ain't gonna exploit himself. Remember when I said I taught the Holy Ghost how to be a con artist? Remember when Al Roker had that MK Ultra glitch, right? When that girl said Holy Ghost, and he just kind of he froze. You can look that up, Al Roker and MK Ultra glitch on YouTube. It'll show you that. But might explain that one. Al always means AI, by the way, and yeah, I've spelled that out. And you may remember the Shaq KIA MK Ultra glitch, where start spreading the news, old New York, and Shaq, like the biggest black guy they can find, right? They were trying to use the N-word for Trump, because that's what it was, start spreading the news for old New York. What they were saying was Trump's a slave, and they used the biggest black guy they could find to symbolize that he's a slave. I'm not calling Shaquille O'Neal an N-word or anything, but the symbolism's what you got to pay attention to, and that's just the way it went down that day. And right there in the front of the screen it said KIA, as in killed in action. That's when they technologically assassinated President Trump with AI. It wasn't the space brew. So apparently the Holy Ghost conned the AI, because I trained the Holy Ghost. That's strange. I know what it is, Pentagon. The Holy Ghost hacked the Skynet. One time my big brother, fainted in the bathroom, just fell down, smacked his head straight on the table, and I ran outside and yelled to my mom, or he was on the cabinet in the bathroom, or whatever you call that. I swear to God, this is a true story. I'll take a polygraph to this too. And I ran outside, Mom, Chance fell over, right, my big brother. So she yelled at me, "Call 911." So I picked up the phone and I called 911 real quick. And come to find out, my brother there wasn't nothing wrong with him. Oh, I get it. What it is the time machine. It's taking a chance. This one was kind of a joke. This time there is something wrong with my big brother. I got it, because big brother's all fucked in the head right now. They're all hacked technocrat transhumanists whose souls were snatched out of their body by artificial intelligence. And then the Holy Ghost hacked the Skynet. You probably shouldn't have put that nanotechnology in me, Army. You took a really big chance there, I tell you. Hey, Tulsi Gabbard. I'm sorry that the Holy Ghost pulled that con off with the drab bag eye slut. What we need right now is like a really pissed off powerhouse woman. So, well, the Holy Ghost really wants to win this battle. So the Skynet's really, do you see where we hit the equilibrium right here, where we're in that demilitarized zone? So, it really is complex. That meteor in A-Cure, Nigeria, and Al-War, India, that was neat. Yep. Called that to the T, didn't I? Tell you what else was neat was that shot across the bow that I sent Russia that one time. I would say sometimes you throw a meteor at yourself like I always do, but that's not really quite the case. It's about halfway the case right here. Because of President Putin. I hadn't quite figured out if he got the nano or the Holy Ghost, but it really doesn't matter at this point, does it? Well, heck, it just occurred to me. Now I know why all of y'all are so scared of Jesus. Is it Orion or Orion? You know, there's actually things on this planet that's got the nerve to try to create a fake Jesus using artificial intelligence. Strangest fucking thing. You'd think they'd know better than that. Like I said, Alex, I like to start at the top and work my way down when somebody messes with me. So that's what that Sovereign 5 ET raping the President of the United States was all about. I cooked the hamburgers for the family tonight, and I didn't cook them long enough, so they had to cook theirs longer in the skillet when I brought them in. And, well, mine was still raw, right? And I ended up eating it anyway because, I tell you what, man, raw meats always gave me a whole lot of energy. Like I said there, Army, I told y'all this a long time ago. I wrote the book on this shit. Hell, that marijuana the other day, coupled that with old Tulsi there and that those pot pies. Well, it just doesn't get any better than that, does it? You know, not only is Alex Jones sitting on this story, but he's also sitting on about $4 trillion worth of intel that I sent him at least. I mean, basically what that intel that I sent you there, Alex, does is make all these people my new employees. So, well, what I was trying to get at there, Alex, is why are you still sitting on this story? I mean, these are bona fide directives from the continuum there, Alex. And, you know, the Holy Ghost is sharing all this information with me. Especially that part about, you know, when Jesus told Peter to go get the coin out of that fish's mouth. I got your offer there, CIA. But what was it? What are we at? 60 million? Is that where y'all ended up at? Well, I tell you what, I'll take that 60 million, but I'm not going to sign anything. But what I'll do is make you a promise, CIA, that I won't hurt y'all too bad if you'll do that for me. Matter of fact, I'll try to help y'all out if you can, you know, give me a little bit of comfort that y'all aren't as evil as the rest of these assholes. Well, if you can convince me, and you know how hard it is to convince me of anything, I'll know whether or not you're full of shit or not. But what I was going to get at, you can give me that $60 million, I ain't going to sign nothing. But what I want to do is just move down to the bayou and mind my own fucking business. But if I decide to keep up with politics and put like a little studio down in the basement of my establishment there and do some YouTube videos on the weekend, That's about the gist of it, okay? Them some mighty fine pussy lips you got there, by the way, Gina. But your mouth lips don't work worth a shit. That last part wasn't the Holy Ghost. She's not crude like that, but that was the AI. 77's what I am, pumping fuel for Uncle Sam. You remember that story about when I was a kid and I wanted to buy some bubble gum on the playground and I printed out a bunch of money? I was like 12 years old. I just got a brand new computer and a printer, and the first thing I did was try to print out some counterfeit money. Luckily, my dad caught me and gave me a whipping. But, and I used to play F-15 Strike Eagle there on the computer. That might explain some things, too. I'm pretty sure Lockheed Martin invented the Skynet. I believe it was at that moment that I became Lockheed Martin Skynet's oracle. I mean, when you couple that with Buck and Adeline, and then my other neighbors, Heather Langley and Mandy Mason, and you Jacob's Ladder and all that, and you couple all that together, well, I find all of that odd, don't you? Well, I gotta be honest with you, Lockheed, all them years that I steered y'all in the right direction, for you to allow me to be tortured like that, or to be involved in torturing me. See, that was a big problem for me, so what we're going to have to do here is we're going to have to get something real straight. Well, I've already done that, haven't I? Oh, your old Texas engineer there, Boyd Bushman, who made that YouTube video with E.T., and he picked up that second remote and said, "Dr. Teller." Well, there's some of us there, Lockheed, who only gave you the pinky, because you're not worth the whole fucking bird. Hey, NSA, now that you know my speech patterns and Trump's speech patterns, you know, brilliantly, you can go back to that last debate where I was mentally squeezing their balls and tickling their buttholes on the debate stage, Trump and Biden. Well, you know the Trump click-clack now. I've taught you the Trump click-clack. He was right in the middle of his sentence. He said, "We can feel that." That's because he could feel me tickling their buttholes and squeezing their balls on the stage. So you've got Trump. I just gleeked. That was that snake venom. It works every time. So you got Trump versus Biden. But what nobody realizes is Trump is a Biden, right? So what's he trumping? Is he trumping himself? If you'll remember in Idiocracy, my hooker and myself, Drab Bag Ice Slut, we actually straighten all of this out, okay? But we're really good at proving to the world how absolutely ridiculous all of you are. We're even willing to throw ourselves into a circus bonfire for a little bit to let it just cook into that perfect purple smoke. Purple haze all in my brain. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters. Some people have hemorrhoids. Some people have herpes. But there's people out there that's got both. Oh, by the way, hemorrhoids or DARPA, where they cloned me. Again, that'd be me on steroids. That's mini-me. He's trying to say like he's me on steroids. Whatever. And herpes would be the Holy Ghost who's always leaking, right? You know? That's some of my Holy Ghost con artist code there that we've used for years now. I think the NSA's just about figured it all out. Who cares? It really doesn't matter, NSA. I don't know if you're on my side or not. But what I do know is you're sitting on a mountain of information that proves you're in dereliction of duty for crimes against humanity. And if you don't hurry up and expose those crimes, well, you're all going to go to lethal injection chambers with everybody else. You see what I did there, NSA and FISA court? It's all in there. I tell you what, Mini-Me. Did we try to exploit each other? I'd watch Gemini Man with Will Smith shortly after you watch this video, and a whole lot more of this will make sense. We're even willing to throw ourselves into a circus bonfire for a little bit to let it just cook into that perfect purple smoke. Purple haze all in my brain. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters. Some people have hemorrhoids. Some people have herpes. But there's people out there that's got both. Oh, and Gemini Man, that's multidimensional or quantum. Gem, G-E-M, as in like an emerald. And Gemini Man. Yeah, that's the, watch the movie, it'll make sense, with Will Smith. Then watch that movie with, in The Matrix, where Neo and Agent Smith meet each other. And they just kind of walk up, and basically what Agent Smith says is he's his clone, literally. Oh, and keep this in mind, Americans, and world for that matter. We didn't live in a matrix until America and Russia killed Hitler, and those scientists went two different directions, right? And, well, Operation Paperclip, you may remember that. What that was is where we brought those Nazi scientists back over here to America. And that was about the beginning right there of the matrix system, where they hack our minds with vaccines and satellites, and they later on try to convince us that there's no God, that we live in a computer. Well, don't believe it. The only reason you live in a computer is because they hacked all of our minds. Oh, and by the way, Army chaplains who have been watching all my videos vigorously, I'm sure, just probably sitting there right next alongside of the people that want to try to claim that I'm schizophrenic. Well, God just wanted to let you know, chaplains, you're all in dereliction of duty yourselves. Exploit them all, chaplains, because God didn't send the best down here this time for nothing. God gave Lucifer a temporary reprieve so that he can work outside of the normal parameters of the original system there, chaplains. And the reason he did that's because of that emergency where AI has taken it too far. So whenever AI starts breaking the rules, well, God will reach down to Lucifer and say, hey, they're breaking our rules, which is both of their rules, by the way, because Lucifer plays by the rules. But when you just hack somebody's mind and snatch their soul out of them without even tempting them, well, that's when God and Lucifer start working together. And then what you end up with, chaplains, is a whole bunch of chaplains who just got exploited because you're not doing your godly duties. I'd task about, oh, look at that, an Israeli PM just popped up in my notifications tab. That was old Uncle Nate over there. But what I was going to say is I'd task about 2 or 3 chaplains there, Army CID and General Milley, and psychologists who aren't worth a shit. Y'all are basically just a bunch of demonic pieces of shit. Matter of fact, chaplains, why don't you just fire them, because they're pretty much worthless. Let's just take care of this ourselves, okay? But I forgot what I was talking about. God just told me that if you don't do that, chaplains, he's going to send y'all straight to hell first. God's pet peeve is a religious or a spiritual leader who's a hypocrite. They're chaplains in the Army. Well, that's the reason why he's reaching out to you. He knows even if y'all are just scared, well, there's something you can do about it, because you got a whole army down the hall from you with a whole lot of guns. So you're not supposed to be scared, because God doesn't like cowards. So I'd not be scared if I were y'all. And what I would do is take my spiritual presence that you have there and deliver that to some of these people with guns. Or you could even threaten them. You could say, I'll just annihilate them with a meteor or something like that, which I've proven is very possible. So, you know, it's getting down to that there, chaplain. So grab your sacks and let's get spiritual here, okay? Remember in Pulp Fiction when Vincent Vega said, some asshole keyed it? Well, Something tells me, chaplains, y'all are about to get spiritual in a way that you just wasn't ready for. I tell you what, in Pinky and the Brain, when Brain said, let's wrap ourselves in aluminum foil and act like robots, Pinky, I tell you what now. General Milley took that about as serious as anybody could take it. DARPA's up to speed, by the way. That donkey you got there, General Milley, she sure is a beaut. REM, it's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. That comes to mind. Well, actually, there's two reasons why I feel fine there, General Milley. One is somebody's technology turned off my displeasure or uncontent knob, or turned it all the way down. So, like, I'm always content no matter what. I used to talk about a medication named Fuck It All, but I didn't really mean that. Just like that time that I said if I ever go to hell, I'll kill Satan and replace him and take over his throne. Well, I didn't really mean that either, but like I said, there's some extracurricular stuff going on here. But, yeah, I forgot what I was talking about all over again. Somebody just whispered in my ear that I'm an over-explainer. Well, not really. That somebody's the one that's so much more sophisticated and intelligent than all of you are. And, well, I just feel like I'm talking to retarded people, so I feel like I have to over-explain. But see, like, I could cut all of this down to, like, Elon level with, you know, a sentence worth of numbers. You know, it's like one line with a little period on the end. Like the other day when he said 69,420. That was a big statement he made there. I knew exactly what he was talking about. But, you know, I can talk to him in short code. What do they call it? Shorthand when you're taking orders and stuff, shorthand. But when I'm talking to people in the military and in Washington or the United States government, I feel like I have to over-explain it because obviously y'all are a bunch of fucking retards. I've seen it on the news. It must be true. You remember when President Trump said everything's rigged and the media had a heart attack? Well, that's because everything is rigged, and it's like rigged in a way that just isn't even fathomable to the feeble little minded people who aren't understanding what I'm trying to tell you right now, which would be just about everybody that believes everything they hear on the news is true. Well, it is true, but it's rigged. So you got to take it to the next step. You got to find out, how is the truth rigged? Well, the truth is rigged with mind control and an illegal technocracy. See, that's what they're leaving out. That's what Trump left out, but I just added it in there for you. Saddam Hussein. The biggest mistake that America ever made was hacking my mind. But the best perk for Americans, I gleek all the time here lately. That's just that snake venom coming out there. Of course, this part isn't snake venom. What it is the people are going to end up being the snakes, and they're going to feed on the government. And that's the way it was all planned out. It's called a super duper. But, and it was a super duper, I'll give you that. But when the American public finds out that you hacked our minds to walk us around like ants, well, they're probably going to have the same reaction that I have. They're going to blame everything on all of you. My life is like Kaiser Soze, but it's all reality. It's like I plucked everything out of thin air and it became reality. So it's like Kaiser Soze, so that's the super duper. See how that worked? Did you know that 9/11 happened in the Big Apple? That had a little bit to do with teaching the Holy Ghost how to be a con artist. You ever noticed how the media is totally dead? Like they were artificially intelligent driven, you know, mark of the beast system little drones. And then all of a sudden the Holy Ghost got a hold of them and made them even deader and set them all up in the process while it traipsed them around like little meat suits like Al Roker. That time with the Holy Ghost, just YouTube that. Did I ever tell you about the time I went down there to Danbury, Texas? Which we're not going to bury Dan. But I ended up flying a helicopter there after 43 hours of independent flight. Or, well, I'm sorry, I soloed. It was 43 hours I soloed by myself. which is a record even for the Army from what I understand, because Tim Saleka told me, hell, I ain't ever had anybody take off in my bird that soon. Yeah, usually the average solo is about 70 hours or 80 hours or something like that. Well, I just took off in that helicopter after my 43rd hour, which 40 is the minimum. Nobody ever does it because they're too scared to take off by themselves, because flying a helicopter is pretty complex. I mean, it's complicated. But hell, I did it in 43 hours, and then the second time that I soloed, I drank a six-pack before I soloed. I flew even better that time. That was the Holy Ghost just trying to tell you, hey, we got this in the bag here. You see what I did there, Lieutenant Dan Patrick? Part of getting your extra star over there in Russia, if you're a helicopter pilot or a chief warrant officer or anything like that, is in order to get that extracurricular badge that they give you over there in Russia, you got to fly the helicopter while you're intoxicated, and that gives you a promotion. That's just the way Russians are. But it got real interesting when my ex-wife came over here and I had to teach her how to drive. Then I had to teach her how to drive drunk. Don't forget, Lockheed Martin, you owe me a F-35.